Welcome back to the Mental Map. Season 2, Episode 2 underway. What are we going to discuss today? Well, I said that Season 2 was going to be about self-care. What the hell does that mean? What is self-care? So I want to dive into what I think self-care means. I think a lot of people just immediately go to a spa day and meditating and, journaling. And while those things are 100% definitely a part of a type of self-care, I think one of the major things, in my opinion, that is overlooked as not being self-care is the work that goes into growing, the work that goes into healing. And I want to dive deep into that. So let's get right on to it. So I started having these thoughts just the other night. I ended up getting out of bed and writing all of these thoughts down because I didn't want to forget them. So if you see me looking down, it's because I wrote them all out. I don't want to forget anything that I had thought of. I had all these thoughts about all the work that I've done so far on myself and on my healing journey, and how a lot of people, including myself for a very long time, shy away from that work because it's work. And it got me thinking, I wish there was another word to call it instead of work, because I feel like that's what scares us away from doing it, because it's work. And it's like, oh my God, I have to dig deep into my past and dig deep into why I feel things. It's so exhausting. Because it is exhausting. And that's why nobody wants to do it, because it's going to be probably the hardest thing one of the hardest things you'll ever do in life is the inner work on yourself and healing that inner child, healing from a broken heart, healing from a person you once were into the person you want to be, or a new, better version of yourself. It's hard and it's exhausting. And I think that's what stops a lot of us from doing it. And I wish there was another word we could call it other than work. And I haven't thought of that new word yet, because it is work. It isn't easy. It's not easy. But maybe thinking of that work more as a type of self-care, we'll want to do it more. And that's kind of the route I want to take today. Thinking about the work that needs to be done on ourselves as a type of self-care. It's tough because we get caught up in our progress, right? We get caught up in the whole idea of, I said it in the last episode, I was so upset last month when I hit rock bottom again, because I was disappointed in myself that I had done all this work this past year. 2024 was filled with hard work I put into bettering myself, into healing my heart, becoming a better version of myself. And come the new year, you're supposed to start fresh. It's supposed to be, new year, new me, essentially, right? I hate that term, but whatever. And I felt like I was starting all over again. I felt like I had done all this work this past year, and what do I have to show for it? I'm starting off this new year. I should be on top of a mountain with all the work that I've done, and I should be feeling good, but I don't. I feel like I'm starting all over again. And when we hit a roadblock or we get stumped like the way that I did, right? Hitting rock bottom again, we feel so defeated and so disappointed in ourselves because we say, well, I've been putting in all this work and I still fall back. So then it brings us to the whole idea of, well, if I'm going to put in all this work and I'm still going to hit roadblocks, then what's the point of doing the work if I'm just going to keep falling back like that? But I think we neglect to remember that the more time we spend on learning about ourselves and our triggers, our likes, our dislikes, habits we need to improve or implement, the more strength we have when we do hit rock bottom. Because I was explaining in the last episode as well, we may not see it in the moment of the funk, right? When we're in rock bottom, when we're hitting that roadblock, of course, that's going to be the only thing that we're focused on. The fact that we've hit a roadblock again, the fact that we're down, the fact that all things are terrible, right? I said that I was speaking so poorly to myself, about myself. That's all I could see was the disappointment, the negativity. But the moment that I was able to step out for a second, to step out of that funk, step out of that roadblock, I was able to see how much better I handled it than the last time I was in rock bottom. And that's progress. Progress is not, I haven't had a roadblock in 5 years. Look at all I've been doing in 5 years and I haven't hit a roadblock since. That's fantastic. That is a type of progress, I guess, but cards aren't dealt the same to everyone, and life tests everyone differently. For one person, they may be tested and hit roadblocks several times in a year, and for another person, someone may be tested and hitting roadblocks once every 6 years. It's different. Progress for everyone is different. But I do believe that we cannot appreciate the highs and enjoy the good times without the lows and the bad times. So what can we do to kind of change the narrative about working on ourselves, right? The whole phrase, work on yourself. You need to do the work. Nobody can do the work for you. You need to do it on your own. We are the ones that have to make the decision to take on different versions of self-care. So it's not just meditating. It's not just doing a spa day. It's not just going to a coffee shop and sitting and reading a book. Those are all beautiful forms of self-care. But I think the part of self-care that we miss out on the most, or miss the importance and the significance of the most, is the hard, grimy, annoying work, inner work that needs to be done. Yes, therapy, I think, is super, super important and transformative for many, but therapy doesn't work for all. Therapy works for me. Talking it out with friends works for me. Talking it out like this, in this format, on this podcast, works for me. And yes, that does involve other people, right? A therapist, you're working with someone else, talking to your friend, they're giving you feedback. But at the end of the day, you're the one that makes the choices. You're the one that decides, one, to talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk it out with someone, even if you're talking it out loud. You're making that choice. And two, you're making the choice after that. All the choices you make after you talk it out with someone or talk it out loud, you're making those decisions. So yeah, at the end of the day, you are in control. Just because, someone influences you. Perfect example is this podcast. If I hopefully, have a good influence on you and I encourage you to take a different approach on something, or maybe reach out to a therapist or whatever the case may be. Yes, I influenced you in a way, but you chose to take that next step. So you're the one that's in control. You're the one that has to make the decision. So I said before, we're so afraid of the word work, working on ourselves, that a lot of us neglect doing that hard work. Or we do a little bit of the work, and then once we hit rock bottom again, or we hit a roadblock, we let being defeated take over and say, all right, well, I've done all this work and nothing's changing. I just feel like I have nothing to show for it. We are human and we will fall back. We will have moments where we fall into our old habits again. But it's important to take a look at the big picture and remember or realize, wow, let's say, she got into a fight with her boyfriend, let's say, right? The way she handled that argument today is a million times better than how she would have handled it, let's say, a year ago. That's progress. Could she handle it better than she did today? Yeah. we all could handle things much better than the way we handle them in the present moment. We get so caught up in our progress, right? Because when you work on something, your purpose of working on it is to try and make it better or to fix it. I hate that word when it comes to self-care. I have to fix this part of me. You are not broken. You do not have to be fixed. We as human beings go through so many experiences from the moment we're born to present day. We are the product of, or the way we are, the way we view the world is or stems from how we grew up, our environment that we were in, the people around us, the influences around us, the school we went to, the friends we have around us, everything is an influence. It is up to us as adults now, as we get older, it's up to us to take all of the influences, all of the things that we were brought up to believe, the ideas we were brought up to have, the life we were brought up to seek. It is up to us now to try and create our own branch of beliefs, ideas, and seek out the life that we want to live. And the only way we can do that is by truly understanding why we feel the way we feel about things. And that takes time. The whole idea of generational trauma, right? Generational curse, I think I've heard people say. You want to try and break that, meaning any limitations that you were brought up to feel or any beliefs that as you get older, you start to feel maybe uncomfortable about because you don't agree with them, because you've seen the world with your own eyes, with your own brain, you know? That's why it's so important to do this work on yourself and why it ties into self-care, in my opinion, because it's going to depict the choices you make for yourself moving forward. If you're making choices because your mom told you this is the way life is supposed to go, or because society told you this is what you have to like, this is what you have to aspire to be or aspire to do, you know, our bodies feel our emotions. What do I mean by that? Physically, if we don't agree with something or we don't want to do something or we don't feel passionate about it, we feel it. It's like a physical, so your physical and your mental and your emotional need to connect. That's why working on yourself is so important and so crucial and is a part of self-care. Because yes, exercising your body, going for runs, working out, doing cardio, whatever, eating healthy, yes, it is super, super important, but, and is totally a part of self-care, right? Physically feeling good is 100% a part of self-care, but your mental and emotional well-being goes hand in hand with your physical. You will not physically feel good if your brain and your heart do not feel good. That's why I believe therapy should be like a regular doctor's appointment. And we should all, at least once a year, go see our doctor, right? For a physical or get a general checkup. I think therapy should be like that. At least once a year, you should check in with a therapist. Mental health is so important to our physical health. They go hand in hand. So no, we're not broken people. You're not broken if you have highs and lows and you're constantly questioning your worth and you're not broken. No one is broken. I truly, truly believe that. No one is broken. No one needs to be fixed. That's not the word. We need to better ourselves. We need to take who we are and how we come and better it. Add to it, right? Implement new habits, good habits, improve habits. But no one is broken, babe. No one is broken. You are not broken. I promise you, you are not broken. You just need to care for yourself and love yourself the way that you do others. You cannot take care of anybody else, babe, unless you take care of yourself. Let's put ourselves number one on the care for list. I'm getting a little emotional because sometimes, I will be honest, sometimes I feel like if I disappeared off the earth, it wouldn't matter, right? I'm sure a lot of us feel that way. That's why I'm comfortable saying it, because I know a lot of us have moments where we feel that way. We feel like, I guess it wouldn't matter if I wasn't in this person's life anymore. You know, they got it. They've got their good things going on. And full disclosure, I kind of felt like that last month, you know, seeing all my friends going on their own paths. I kind of felt like, oh, well, they got their things. Like I don't really make a difference. And I know that there's a lot of people in this world that feel that way, that feel like their presence alone doesn't make a difference. I don't think that we should focus on if we make a difference in other people's lives. I think we should focus on if we're making a difference in our own lives. I think we need to start there. I think when we have moments where we feel that way, that we don't matter in other people's lives, or we don't matter or make a difference, I think we need to stop, look in the mirror, literally find a mirror and look at it and say to yourself, am I making a difference in your life? And if the answer is no, how are we going to make a difference in our life? And it could be the easiest thing, the most simplest thing to start. Perfect example. I have to get up, I have to leave my house for work, let's say 7:30. So I would always set my alarm for 6:30, snooze it for a half an hour, and get out of bed finally by 7 o'clock. And all I would have time for is to brush my teeth, get dressed, fix myself, have a little breakfast, and leave. But it was always like rush, like boom, 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 boom. I finally said to myself, I always aspired to wake up. I'd see people in movies or like on the show Friends. They're all having a cup of coffee and chatting and taking time for themselves in the morning before they go to work. And I'm like, that's impossible. Like I wake up and I have no time for that. But I could make time for that. All I have to do is wake up earlier. And I would always, the night before getting up for work, I would always say, okay, you're going to wake up at 6:30 so you have time. And I never would. Oh, I got to sleep. I have to rest my body, blah, blah, blah. I was always making this promise to myself that I was going to wake up at 6:30 and breaking it. So I wasn't being a very good, friend to myself. I was breaking my own promises to myself until finally one day I was so fed up. It was the end of last month, just 2 weeks ago. I was so fed up and I knew, I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I'm not making a difference in my own life. What am I going to do? So I decided, I looked myself in the mirror and I said, you are waking up at 6:30. No ifs, ands, or buts. You are waking up at 6:30. Why? Because you are going to be able to get out of bed, brush your teeth, and in your pajamas, all cozy, go downstairs calmly, kind of like slow motion pace, make your breakfast, enjoy your cup of tea, enjoy your croissant with butter and honey. That's my go-to breakfast at the moment. It's delicious. And then have an easy morning, go upstairs and get ready for work. I even have time to write in my gratitude journal. I sit at my little table in my room. I write in my gratitude journal. What happened the next morning? I woke up exactly at 6:30. I actually follow Mel Robbins' 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the 5-second rule. I count backwards from 5 and I get out of bed. I launch out of bed. And I have been consistent with that for about a week and a half now. And it's the smallest thing. All I'm doing is waking up a half an hour earlier. And it changed my day. It changes the trajectory of my day. Because I'm waking up at 6:30 for nobody else but myself. Besides getting back into the podcast, That is the only thing that I have done differently. Besides, getting back into, the shift of mindset. But that's not so easy for people. It wasn't easy for me last month. It took me a while to get back into the positive mindset. But I think keeping that promise to myself, or waking up at 6:30 and being able to have a cool, breezy morning, I think that helped me in really shifting gears into a positive and not a negative. Start small. Start small. If your starting small is writing a sentence every day, no matter what time of day, writing a sentence every day of an affirmation. I am worthy. Start where you are capable of at the moment. My next task, I want to wake up at 6 o'clock so I have time to do like a 12-3:30 on the treadmill and still have time to relax and have my breakfast and chill out. But I know I'm not ready for that yet. I'll get there when I'm ready. Or when I really want to be ready. Because you can be ready at any moment, babe. Any moment you want to be ready, you take the leap and you do it. We are so in control of our life. It's crazy. I was always that type of person. Oh, no. I always need to set my alarm for a half an hour before the time I actually have to get up, because I like to trick my brain into thinking I have more time to sleep. I need to sleep. That was me. You could never get me out of bed exactly when my alarm goes off. And now I get up exactly when my alarm goes off. I don't hit snooze anymore. I've only been doing it for a week and a half, but I've been consistent with it. And the other thing that I learned from Mel Robbins, don't get discouraged if you miss a day. I think a couple days ago I woke up at like 6:35, and I'm really particular. So like if I make a promise to myself to wake up at 6:30 and I wake up not at 6:30, like 6:31, 6:35, I'll get really upset because it's not exactly, I'm a Virgo, okay? So I like things specific. I like things exactly the way that they're meant to be. So when I had woken up at 6:35, I got really upset and I got discouraged. Like, I didn't catapult out of bed at 6:30, but I didn't hit snooze. And that, once I realized that, I felt better about myself because, okay, I took an extra 5 minutes. All good. Even if one of these days I wake up at 7 o'clock again, that's okay. Start it over the next day. Don't get down again and say, I have to start all over again. Don't think about it that way. Remember that picture that I told you about that's always on Instagram? Healing is not linear. You go down sometimes, you plant a flower there, and then you go back up and you plant a whole garden. It's life. It's life. And it's all good. It's all good. We can't be so hard on ourselves, and we cannot fear the work we need to do on ourselves. Because I promise you, I get so emotional because I know what it feels like to feel so defeated and like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm not working on myself anymore. I've done so much work and I've hit rock bottom again. I don't care. I just don't care. Nothing good is happening for me. Like I've been there. But I've also been on top of the mountain. And I'm telling you, you can always make it back up there. I promise you. You just have to keep going. We need to take a breath. We need to take breaths. We need to breathe. Life is annoying sometimes. I'm not gonna front. Life is really, really annoying, and it's ups and downs, and it's I don't want to make the mental map seem like, toxic positivity, because I believe in that. I believe in toxic positivity. I want to be as realistic as possible. Life sucks sometimes, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to all the time. We can change it little by little. You don't have to conquer the world in one day, babe. You do not. If you couldn't tell, I'm like obsessed with the word babe. We're all babes. We're all babes up in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our song of the day today. What is our song of the day? Blind by SZA. This song is a banger, obviously. It's SZA. But this song is really, really... I always loved the song. And then one day, after listening to it a million times, I... really, when you've listened to a song a bunch and then when you actually sit and kind of stare into the distance and listen to the lyrics, it just hits you. That's what happened with this song. When I finally heard the part where she says, I have it right in front of me, where she says, all of the things I need living inside of me, I can't see it. It's so embarrassing. All of the love I seek living inside of me, I can't see, I'm blind. We're constantly, I'll speak for myself. I always looked for validation from the people I loved. Everyone, my family, my friends, my boyfriends, I always looked for validation and my worth in what they thought of me. I didn't really care too much about people I didn't know or everyone else. I cared about the people that I loved. I needed my validation and my value to come from how they felt about me. And so, especially in relationships, that is terrible. That's not good. It should come from you. And that's exactly what this song is. It's about looking at what's right in front of you, seeing your worth, not being blind to everything that you are being enough. Everything that you have in front of you is exactly what you need in that moment. And I have trouble with that. I have trouble overthinking. I look forward too much into the future, and I'm worrying about things that I don't even have yet. And I'm worrying about it now because I don't have it. But that doesn't mean that I'll never have it. You got to show self-love. Self-care is self-love. Doing the work is loving yourself. It's a part of loving yourself. You got to do it, babe. You got to do it. And I'm right next to you. I'm on this journey too. Don't worry. And you're going to go up and down, but you got it. You got this. We all got it. We all got it. Even when we don't. Even if that may be most of the time. If most of the time we don't got it, we still got it. Because we're alive and we're kicking. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, my loves. Bye-bye for now.